videos.
Oh, we can always say that.
I the the press, like I completely agree with them. Like White House, oh, you better not do this, Russia. You better not do that. Russia's just like North Korea. Whatever. Watch me. They do
Yeah.
it. Then the White House, like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna sanction your billionaires, right? Think that we're gonna sanction your billionaires. This oligarchy. Like, no more jet skis for you. No more caviar for you. Okay. And so, I don't know. I'm sure that there's a lot of at play, obviously, that most of us don't know about.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like the United States talks a lot. They did the same thing with North Korea. And, like, if you're going to threaten to put sanctions on a country or on on an individual like they've never seen before, if they do something and they do it and you're still holding back, like the world doesn't take you seriously anymore. Like you continue to be that chihuahua. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. But yeah, I don't understand why it's not just balls to the wall in terms of sanctions. Like, just any possible means you could do, just do it.
I mean, I think
But
it's what's complicated is I think it's obvious that the majority of the citizens of Russia do not want this, right? They don't approve of these actions.
yeah,
And so when you when the government responds, who pays the cost? Is it really leadership, or is it the I don't know how many people are in Russia. I would assume it's probably like 180 million. I don't know. Like who really pays the price?
yeah. Only, well, it's always the people in every case, but it's, and the
And,
leadership of the losing side.
and I always say, I mean, like you hear me reference color a lot, but like who really pays the price? Is it the people or is it elderly white men that probably have another 10 years left in their lifespan?
Yeah.
Who really has more to lose?
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah, this is a bad situation. You feel powerless, but it's what can you do? They're not in NATO. It's
I
pretty
mean,
much
it's
any game that has any country that hasn't been adopted into some sort of protection pact with a superpower is basically free game for whoever wants to do whatever with them. I mean, Russia could invade Switzerland tomorrow and nobody would do a damn thing. I don't think Switzerland's in the EU or in. Um, I don't think they're in NATO. They're usually like very. Anyways, they stay out of everything. The attacks Switzerland. Actually, the most interesting thing I've found about this so far, and I'm not saying interesting as in it's like exciting or anything, but just an observation, is the fact that the neo Nazis of Ukraine is what the what was the just part of the justification for Russia going in there. The they're like, well, there's Nazis there, we have to go kill them. It's basically run right out of the like leftist playbook. They're Nazis.
yeah.
So
And what's sad is some people will, just like some people will justify anything that Trump did. I'm sure it's the same thing with all leaders.
yeah,
There will always be a cult following, and one can do no wrong at all. It's all part of their divine purpose, and we're not meant to understand the magnificent mind of Putin or Trump or anybody else. Like people, there's some people that treat these people as if they're like gods or emperors. So
Yeah, but I mean, literally, it's the same thing that, as I understand it, excuse me, that Justin Trudeau did to shut down the truckers in Canada. Just
I
call
hope
them.
I hope this is his last term. Do they have a limit
Yeah,
on how many?
they have elections, free elections. So, I mean, I don't know that they have term limits, but I'm sure
That
that they do.
yeah, he should go away now.
Hmm?
Like I'm saying,
Oh,
Trudeau, whatever his name is. Like you freeze the accounts of someone that is within their rights to donate to a cause politically that they side with, and you're like, no, we're going to freeze your account.
well,
Like,
it's because they're Nazis. That's what I was saying. Is it could be it's basically like an excuse that anybody can use to try to get rid of anyone they don't like.
yeah,
Well,
but
they're
I
Nazis.
mean, the Canadian president, he didn't use any of that terminology,
Well,
right?
he used white supremacist and fascist and all of
Oh,
that.
blackface used the
Yeah,
term white supremacist.
yeah. He was
Okay,
calling them. He was calling this fringe group of racist white supremacists, or whatever. At least that's what I'm understanding. I guess I'd have to find the source video. I've seen it enough. Um, but yeah, it's like I said, it becomes this like feels like it becomes this catch-all for
like terrorism.
justifying any sort of like action you want to take as a government against people, your own or outside of you.
Yeah, first it was terrorism. Now it's like Nazis or
Yeah,
whatever else.
Nazis are like the embodiment of inhuman, so it's easy to you know just try to justify that anything you want. It's just get if you get people to believe that you're fighting Nazis, it's all justified. Punch a Nazi. Remember that thing? Punch Nazis.
No.
That whole movement is like it's people were like, we got to punch the Nazis. This was during, I think the Charlottesville thing. Maybe that's the exact same thing. It's like it's violence is okay as long as it's against Nazis.
You
So
know, I like 2 or 3 days ago, I was like outside and I saw a whole bunch of pigeons lined up sitting on a power line and I started laughing.
they're recharging.
Yeah. I thought I was gonna resume work after like a 2 month break on my passion project. No, it's my job is demanding, dude. Like I know it's an excuse, but like I don't want to look at a monitor after like 10 hours of looking at a monitor.
Yeah, I mean I do, but it's to play games and stuff. But but I get what you're saying. Yeah, it gets excessive.
Yeah, like my lifestyle's changed.
Yeah, you've fallen into the
Uh,
normal
yesterday was my
normality.
yesterday was my first time doing pull-ups in like 3 weeks, so that was hard mentally for me.
Hmm.
Yeah, I know I need to man up, but
Yeah, I haven't run this week. I went to the gym and lifted a little bit on Tuesday, but I haven't run this week. I don't
what?
remember. Oh, it was a snowstorm Monday, Tuesday, or no, Monday. Then I went to the gym Tuesday. Wednesday was my turn around the globe, and then yesterday I had to get some stuff. I'm going fishing again this weekend, so I won't be running this weekend either. So I gotta hit it hard next week. I got 2 months till a half marathon. I don't think I'm ready. Of course, I think I signed up in July. No, did my full marathon in October. So July, August, September, October. 3 months to prep for that. So I'll probably be fine. But it's the full marathon that's really scary. That's 4 months then. Away.
Yeah. I've been writing C# code, getting annoyed with the syntax. Do you actively program in using records in C#?
When I do anything brand new or something that is just me, yeah. It's like anytime you just need, yeah, yeah. It's the syntax is so much nicer and cleaner, smaller.
Yeah. I've been
I mean, it's
programming.
it's like you don't even necessarily. It's almost like I don't necessarily even need the equality part of it. Making them uh, value objects or whatever. But um, I wish they'd just extend that same syntax to classes. I don't know why they haven't. And
Because
you
it's
know,
not backwards compatible, maybe.
well, I don't like records. I don't know like why it wouldn't be on classes. They have the same structure as a classes and records have the same structure. It's just syntactical sugar. So
Are you talking about the argument for structural equality?
no, 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 no. I'm wondering why the syntax of being able to declare the class and then just pass the parameters and just have properties pop up um, on classes isn't the same. Um, that whole syntax of just declaring the parameters for the constructor or whatever, and having it
I'm sure
generate the
they
object.
I'm sure they tested it and they found issues
Yeah, yeah,
with 20-year-old code bases.
yeah. I don't know what it would be, but yeah, yeah. Why do you ask?
I'm in the trenches writing some infrastructure code, and just the amount of ceremony or extra syntactical ceremony I have to write, I kind of get annoyed with. I'm like, I'm so beyond this. I'm so advanced. Why am I going back to medieval times? Like, but mainstream, like, that's what they choose.
Yeah, I guess that's the way it is. But yeah, records are really nice for a lot of that stuff. I mean they've made good improvements in C# to reduce the overall crap you have to write, but yeah, it's nowhere near F# or any of the other functional languages. Maybe the type inference isn't there, but
It sucks when you have a productive habit and you lose it. Like, I want to bounce back, but
well, then bounce back. I wanna bounce back. Come on,
I
man.
just, it's
Just do the
just
easiest thing possible. Like
mental health. Like, it's just hard to like resume. Like, I don't know. I guess I have a lot of things on my mind.
here's what you should do is just to focus on doing exactly one small task that next week and that's it. Don't plan on working on it for an hour. Think of what's the simplest little change you could make and just go do that. Because you could do that, right? No, no, that wouldn't be hard. You don't have to commit an hour. You don't have to commit a specific time. You don't have to put in a whole work week on it. Just find the smallest thing and make one tiny little progression. Uh, Fix a bug that is lingering in the back of your head, that you know how to fix, but you haven't yet.
Hmm. I mean, where I left off is I'm at the point where I could test the GPS tracking between two devices. I get burnt out just thinking about the logistics.
Time to throw it all out and rewrite it now.
Oh no,
You're
no.
3 years smarter, man. You could just do it over again.
I mean,
Write in a small
experience-wise,
monolith instead of a microservice. You'd be done in a week.
uh,
Put it all in a mono repo.
I mean, it because of going through that workflow or that experience. I mean, I do think I'm worth more now in regards to like my 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 market value or my earning potential. So yeah, I'm ready to. You work as a full-time employee. I want to know when consultants like how they manage their vacations or they don't. Now, that's the thing. Like getting paid by the hour, I don't want to leave money on the table.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a contractor, but I've been salaried as a contractor, so I've never had to deal with. I've dealt with billable hours for my employer, but not billable hours for me. So I don't know. Never been in that situation. But yeah, I suppose if you don't work, you don't get paid.
Oh, you don't work, you spend money.
Just paying, you're just exchanging time for money, man.
Mm, what else is up? I don't really have anything to report technically, besides the fact that I fell off and I'm struggling to get back on.
Why don't we just do it right now? Just pull up one of your chunks of code and make a really small unit test change or some shit like that.
F unit tests. um, I mean, I know the next item I will work on.
Which is what?
It's actually two items. One would be like there's a bug for GPS location, like logging, in which is logging both. All right, so the Signal R, wow, it's been a while. So Signal R, it when a, a person sends a message, if they don't filter on the receiving end a message that has an ID or has a sender that matches them, then it shows up as an event within their subscription. And so, like, I mean, it's trivial, but like, I gotta write like a, some filter logic so that when a device publishes its location, like a customer publishes their location,
Mm-hmm.
and this, they periodically publish their location to Signal R, that when they receive notification of the courier's, it's supposed to be the courier's location notification that the customer is tracking, that the customer isn't receiving notification of their own location after they publish their own location. So I have to,
Oh, I see. Okay.
yeah, like, so the infrastructure is abstract where like it's kind of like a group chat, like whatever you send, it just shows up for everybody. And so I just have to like put in some filtering logic so that the sender ID, if it matches your ID, then ignore that message.
Yeah, don't notify it. Just
So you
record
don't
it
see a
or
blip
yeah.
showing up on your map as you're tracking one another.
Well, why not track yourself? I guess. Oh, it's probably being handled natively on the phone.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You could just do it right now. Just bring it up. Just do it. So it's one
I'll,
line somewhere. If sender ID equals me,
no,
continue.
it'll probably take 5 minutes for me to find the code to update, and then
And you need to consolidate that into just a mono repo. put a one big solution.
You keep saying that.
It'd be better. It'd be way more easier to just get going.
Yes, but do you remember the motivation? It's killing several birds with one stone.
Yeah, but
So
having multiple repos is not. There's no excuse for it. There's no reason to have multiple repos until you need them.
yeah, design wise, but what about politically? Politically, I'm trying to politically I said I want more money. This is my plan for getting more money in regards to
Yeah, but
get get out of the business of being a front end developer, right?
yeah,
Both the money and the way that you're treated in general, like get out of that business. The barriers to entry are too low. So if for the last 5 or 10 years everything has been microservice, all conferences are predicated on microservice, you have to have microservice sprinkled on your resume up 10 times. All right, well, let me go ahead and participate in that ceremony or play that game, and let me speak intelligently on my experience with microservices, because no one cares about the solution that needs to be solved. They care about the patterns and practices, even if they're not warranted for a solution, because the people that are paying the big bucks, they're not the ones that actually understand the technology or the design considerations. It's all political. So if I need to succeed, and if I need to pay my bills and take care of my responsibilities, then I need to play that game, even though technically or design wise it makes no sense. But politically, this is what you have to do.
yeah. I'm not saying don't do microservices. I'm saying don't do microservices in a million repos. A mono repo is an accepted pattern in the microservice world. It's a common thing you'll see now because everyone realizes the complexity of trying to maintain, you know, 10 different repos for, one logical chunk of one unit. So, um,
Yes, and to your point, I need to be able to speak intelligently about that.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
So
yeah, the
convert it to the mono
woes.
repo and then say, hey, this is the problem that it was, is that having these things split up all over the place adds a lot of complexity and management that's difficult. Putting it in a mono repo makes it easier to find and locate and switch between projects and that kind of business. I mean, to the
Yeah,
point where you could put everything in a big solution file if you want to. You can host different technologies in there
yeah.
too.
You I could, as long as it's just me or maybe less than 3 people. When it starts growing, the probability of domain boundaries being compromised, it just, I would argue, it goes up significantly. And
Yeah,
I know for me, it's like this is my project, right? There's nobody else, and I get that, but I understand what you're saying. I'm just
but
at
at
the
that
same
point,
time that
when
I'm building a business, I'm also practicing engineering and I'm practicing architecture.
yeah, yeah, but at the time that you would actually need to have that happen,
Break it up.
you can just break it up at that point in time.
Yeah.
The idea with the mono repo is that it's you still have independently, deployable components, and that can be easily split off and pulled out and put in, but not but you don't have to worry about, I guess you don't just don't have to worry about all the headache of managing a crap ton of repos.
Hey, Roman. Yeah, I agree.
I'm in a little. Oh, it was yesterday. Speaking abstractly about one of the things I was working on, I hate, I hate, 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 hate when things are structured as NuGet packages that don't need to be.
Really.
Like, like you take, let's say, the core business logic of a service, and you put it in a repo, and then generate a NuGet package that then has to be imported into an application that then has to be set. That can be deployed. It's
What's the case for that?
there's no case for it. It's
Well,
I,
I mean, they did it, and they were making other people depend on that NuGet package.
I don't know. I think it's just there's probably some belief that it provides flexibility or whatever, but it's complexity that's unneeded.
Well,
So
if there's multiple clients,
no, there
okay.
isn't. And even if there is multiple clients, it's likely that those clients um, should be interfacing using with the service using HTTP or something like that.
Yeah.
You should have different ports and different adapters for different transports that you want to connect into a service.
Okay. Is it a SDK?
No,
Okay.
like that I understand. Like Newtonsoft.json, that makes sense. Logging abstraction and framework for Microsoft, that makes sense.
Or I was saying like a
Avro
wrapper,
serializer, that makes sense.
a wrapper over a RESTful API, so a client like SDK.
Yeah, that's fine too. I'm okay with that. I don't like that. I really still don't like that, but it's at least that makes some sense. I just don't understand when you split out the core domain logic into a package, then bring it in to actually be connected up with its application layer. So it's not even that. It's almost like in this case it was domain plus the infrastructure. It's like outgoing ports. So it's like it's got the database connectivity in there. It's just missing the front end, the API. So I just uh, it's so difficult and so much more complex because you can't really integration test until you've reviewed and merged and then updated your package. Then you can integration test. And if an integration test goes wrong where you need to change the core again, even if the unit tests pass, you now have to go and update that to get it to. It's just it's painful.
Mm.
I can understand that people must have structured it that way for some reason, and it probably made sense at the time. I'm not digging on anyone saying oh, they're so stupid for doing. No, I'm not doing that. It's just this is a pattern that I've seen more than once, and I absolutely hate it. I just want it to all die. And really, I like mono repos in terms of putting together a bunch of stuff under the same context, because you do have usually you can have microservices, many different little services for the same context. Like repos should align to contexts or bounded contexts, I think is what I'm saying. Um, Anything within that context should be paired up. Or if you have, I suppose, if you've got the context is. Anyways, sorry, I'm mumbling now.
No.
So,
Okay. What's your next? What's your next career?
I don't know, man. Millionaire, multi-millionaire, maybe. We'll see.
Uh,
I'm gonna
I
win
either
the
want,
lottery.
I either want to be a bounty hunter or a homicide detective.
Are you giving up on your dream of an aerospace engineer so quickly?
Oh, that's wrapping up with the software
Oh,
career. I'm talking about,
after you're done.
yeah, like being like 50 and kicking in doors on the west side of Cleveland.
Well, I had hoped to have been a Walmart greeter, but I guess that doesn't really exist anymore.
uh, like, yeah, I think I'm good at, well, I'm not sure if I'm good at interrogating. I think I am. You can ask all my ex-girlfriends, but like just interrogating and picking people's logic apart or just kicking in doors, serving warrants. Well, I guess a bounty hunter doesn't serve a warrant. Like, you skip bail, and just kicking their door and drag them out. Shoot the dog.
No.
Like,
You'd be the good bounty hunter that doesn't shoot the dog, and then
Pistol whip
everyone
the
would like you.
dog.
That's why people would like Scott Nimrod bounty hunter is he doesn't shoot the dog.
I'll pistol
Yeah,
whip a chihuahua in a heartbeat.
that'd
Like,
be
I hate
your
chihuahuas.
tagline. I don't shoot the dog.
Yeah, I think I would want to do something hands-on. Somehow it feels like it's related to like law enforcement.
Good luck, man. Go ahead. I wouldn't touch law enforcement with a 10-foot pole.
I was, I think I would stay away from the drug enforcement side.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't dare. Man, it's just there's too much political fluff around it. You have to enforce the laws, and uh, ugh,
You want to, you're not attracted to being a bounty hunter?
no,
Just
no.
imagine being like a nightclub at the bar, and like a pretty thing walks up to you and y'all strike conversation. It's like, oh, so what do you do? And you just look at her and you gaze into her eyes. I'm a bounty hunter. Like to me, I don't know. I feel like it's interesting and like
Okay,
it demands attraction.
okay, Boba Fett.
Who's Boba Fett?
He's the bounty hunter that caught Han Solo in Star Wars.
I used to.
Is a series on Netflix or on Disney Plus now.
I started a relationship like 4 years ago. I met this chick at the lounge, and she asked me what I did, and I told her I was a bounty hunter. She's like, "Really?" And she's like, "Tell me about it." And I'm like, "Well, I work for ICE. And I look for Mexicans, kicking their doors."
You just said, I'm a I'm a bounty hunter. I get bug reports from Facebook, and I have to find them.
I was like, I look for Mexicans. They like to hang out in the Everglades, so I get on my swamp boat and I look like I was just going off, but like they believe me.
I'm
I
a
think it's
bounty hunter. I
funny.
look for security concern in major company software and collect bug bounties when I find them.
The funny part is we really don't have Mexicans in Miami, just like we don't have Mexicans in Cleveland. I mean, I'm sure they're small populations, but
What is it? Because
like we
that's
don't
the
we don't
term
have
now.
them.
Is it
What?
Latinx or something like that? Is the term that they
No,
use now?
no. Like I don't think Mexicans are considered Latin. I don't think so. They're called Hispanic, but Latin. My
Well, instead of
understanding,
Latinos, right?
I don't think Mexicans are considered Latinos. Are
Uh,
they?
I think so.
So Eddie Guerrero off of WWF or WWE, he would say like Latin Heat, and I think he was Mexican. But I don't think Mexicans are considered Latin.
Well, Mexico is part of Latin America, right?
No, it's part of North America.
Mm,
It's Central America that starts to become Latin America, and then South America is Latin America. I think Latin America is Central America and South America. Mexico is not Central America; it's North America. I mean, you could fact check me, but
um, it's hard to find a good map of this map. Latin
and
America.
so like, cause like, what's the difference between Hispanic and Latin? So your Puerto
Yeah,
Ricans,
Mexico is part of Latin America.
is it? Where is this? Where's the authoritative like website that says that?
Well, this is the Library of Congress,
Okay.
and it has basically everything below the United States is Latin America. So I'm pretty sure that it's Latino. But then they made this last election cycle, they started to make a distinction between Cuban Latinos or whatever and other Latinos. But I don't really know what the deal was.
Yeah, because I don't think like Puerto Ricans are considered Latinos. I don't think they are. They're considered Hispanic.
Oh, Latinx is the American English neologism, can't say that word. Sometimes used to refer to people of Latin America, cultural or ethnic identity in the United States. So it replaces the O, E, ending of Latino and Latina. Typical grammatic gender in Spanish. Plurals is Latinxes. So I think they were saying that about I think they were labeling the Cubans in Florida that way because they ended up coming out and voting for Trump instead of Biden. So they're like, oh, they're not real Latinos. They're Latinx. They got the X factor.
I know Cubans that voted for Trump.
Yeah.
I know Cubans that went to the state capitol for the insurrection. So
Insurrection.
you don't like that term?
It's such a loaded term. Yeah, they were trying to overthrow the government for sure. That's what happened. Yep.
No.
These guys dressed up like buffaloes. Their plan was to overthrow and take over the government. And now if we sit inside the congressional building, we make the laws, and we say that Trump is going to be president
So what
of our
term?
new
What do you call
government.
it? You just call it a protest?
Yeah, it was a protest that unfortunately went violent. Yeah, and there's no excuse for the violence at all.
They
It's
stormed the White House. I agree. Maybe
the
insurrection isn't the
Capitol.
right term because they weren't trying to overthrow the government. But what would you call it if they think that Trump won and the government is like cheating?
But you don't think that Trump won?
I mean, I don't honestly. I
No.
don't care. I
Yeah,
don't.
no,
I don't.
it was a protest, and a few people got stupid and went inside. And the thing is there's nothing that they could have done. They were protesting that the results were being certified, but there was no insurrection. That's just a term they're applying to it so that they can go after political. You know what else is kind of stupid? That term got used to also describe the truckers in Ottawa.
Yeah.
It's an insurrection. That's how they're trying to frame
They're
it.
domestic terrorists.
Yeah, it's framing. It's all framing. It's just like I said. It's the same thing with that we started this conversation on. Like Russia just had to frame their justification. Just frame the Ukrainians as Nazis, and then we have justification. All the justification we need.
So the question is, now that Russia has invaded Ukraine and China's observing the reaction of the world, how soon will it be before they go ahead and invade Taiwan?
Yeah, I don't know. Taiwan's a different beast, but I think I'd assume that they would eventually do it. I mean, I don't know. We don't have a defense. I don't think we have a defense pact with Taiwan. So it's basically like I said, any country that they want to take up, they can. That doesn't have a defense pact. So if they're not part of NATO or they're not part of some other treaty that says, "Hey, we're going to help you," oh, maybe Sino-American Mutual Defense Treaty. Maybe we do have one. Oh no, it was effective until 1980. I don't know that we have a one with it anymore. So yeah, I mean, they might as well. It'd be if they want it back, it'd be stupid of them not to do it. Like as much as you don't like it, in any case, it's not if Russia wants Ukraine to be part of them and that's their plan, not Russia but Putin or whoever, the oligarchy. They're better doing it now than waiting, because the longer that the more that Ukraine gets its ties with the West, the more likely it is that they'll join NATO, and then it's all over.
What I would argue, then any of the Eastern European countries that aren't part of NATO, go ahead and invade them as well.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think
There will be
basically
consequences to that. Like, if they decide to invade, which one is it? Is it Sweden or Switzerland? I always confuse those two. It's probably both of them.
Sweden,
Like, if
Finland.
they invade those countries, I promise you, they don't have to be part of NATO in order for other countries to take military action.
Mm, no,
Okay, so let's go back to World War II. Okay, what happened when Hitler invaded Poland, and why all of a sudden did countries intervene?
you gotta realize that something is different now than in World War II, and
There's
that
a lot of things that are different.
there's that nuclear weapons at play. Nobody's gonna come to the defense of a country against a nuclear power in any meaningful way. Um, yeah, nobody's gonna do it in any meaningful way, uh, unless they're part of a defense pact that says that we have to. Because then it would be yeah.
You
Because
see Roman's comment. uh,
yeah, Finland and Sweden, I don't think are part of NATO. I don't think Slovakia or Czech
who?
Republic are either. Slovakia.
Who? Whatever happened to Czechoslovakia? Are you just?
Well, no, there was Czechoslovakia, and then it became the Czech Republic and Slovakia,
Oh, okay.
and they're two different countries. I have my old coworker. Um, she was the QA on the team at the company. She's from Slovakia. She has a farm there. She's
So
really cool. She made me mugs. I liked her a lot.
I do think that maybe it's a low probability, but in the event that they invaded Sweden or Finland, I do think countries would take military action. There's a difference between taking military action to repel an invasion versus taking a military action to first repel an invasion, and then when that military is weak, deciding to grab territory and enforce special interests by invading that country after that happens to be nuclear. Like, I don't think. I mean, okay, these are like elderly white people that have nothing to lose, right? That are leaders of a lot of these countries. But with that said, I don't think taking military action on a country that chooses to invade another country and that war is being fought outside of the boundaries of that invader. I don't think that's means for dropping a nuke. It's when you finally decide to, like World War II, like finally Russia, United States, or whatever, like they invade like Berlin. Yeah, then it's like, okay, that government, their whole like their whole government's about to collapse now. They know
Yeah.
their sovereignty is about to be no more, and then that's when you hit the red button.
Yeah, but I actually don't think Putin's going to continue on after this. Poland is certainly not at play. Like Poland is safe because they're in NATO. Like that would be an Article 5 whatever defense pact. Boom, it's full out war then. They wouldn't do that. I don't think that they would go after. They Ukraine is I think a little bit different of a story. They want a buffer between them and the NATO countries. They don't want this like to be surrounded, I think. And I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like if you're geopolitically different than Europe and you feel threatened by NATO, I just don't understand why Russia feels threatened by NATO. I don't get it.
Why wouldn't you? Okay, are you really?
Well, what's Russia got to lose? I mean, if you're a good actor and you just continually like if you just play nice with everyone.
No, I don't think it's like that. I think that there used to be this thing called Soviet Union, right? And then after the Cold War, they they lost territory, right? They got consolidated. And so then, let's say in the early 90s or whatever, I'm not sure if it was Gorbachev or someone else, some other actor. Um, there were like, I'm not sure if you want to say treaties, but there were promises that were made of, okay, well, you can't, hey NATO, you can't take any more countries that are getting within close proximity to us. And there's this notion of not an inch further, but that was a lie. And so more and more countries joined. And
Yeah.
so I think that in regards to like Putin, I think that and kind of like China, they want to reunify like their dynasty, or what dynasty is probably a poor choice of words, but I think they want to reunify the former Soviet Union, like one bit at a time, whatever they could get away with. And at the same time, it's kind of unfortunate that if you have beef with just one country out of 30 countries, you now have to fight all 30 countries, including the United States and Canada. Is Canada part of NATO? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like they have different ideologies, different like foreign policies, and I think yeah, like for the same reason, this is probably a poor example, for the same reason that United States decided that they were going to go to war in Vietnam to stop the spread of communism, right? Because somehow they believe that the more countries that got influenced by China or communist ideas, the more it threatened their interests, their country's interests.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I get that from an imperialist standpoint. I don't know why I thought we were kind of in a more of a post-imperialist type situation, but
and plus, each
we're
country
not.
that joins NATO is a country that will now have um, defense installations or missile silos that are pointed at Russia. And so it's kind of analogous to the Cuban Missile Crisis, where the United States was like, nah, F that. Russia, you're not going to plant nukes in Cuba that's 90 miles away from us and think that that's okay. And Cuba, if you continue to entertain Russia planting their nukes 90 miles away from us and pointing at us and claim that that's for defense, F that. No, we're not going to allow it.
Yeah,
So,
it's old. It's old. It's spheres of influence thing and all that. So it's it makes sense. I don't know. It just I guess it just sucks for the people of Ukraine. But like I said, I don't see them going much further after that though. I don't think the people of Russia would stomach it.
you say that. Did you say those same statements when they invaded Crimea?
But oh,
Crimea.
Crimea, well, that's part of Ukraine. There was part of Ukraine.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
annexed it, and then I'm sure some people say, all right, well, as long as they don't go any further. And then 8 years later,
No, I mean,
all
I
of
just don't know that they have anywhere to go after that. That would like, I don't think they're gonna invade Finland. I don't think they're gonna invade Sweden. Ukraine is kind of a special beast because it,
in
I mean, it
regards to
was
their
a huge
in,
part of the USSR.
in regards to their buffer zone. All right, Ukraine. What's the other one? Belarus. What? How you say that?
Belarus.
But yeah, I never even heard of them until like recently.
Yeah.
Uh, is are those only two countries that directly border Russia that aren't part of NATO?
It's a good question. Well, now that if they take over Ukraine and hold Ukraine, then it would be. But I think they're just going to install a. They would just install a new government and leave Ukraine. They're not going to make it part of Russia. It'll be like
Uh,
well, it'll be like
Canada.
Belarus. It'll be like Belarus is. Um, it'll be independent, but it's just a puppet of Russia, right?
I've never met anybody from Belarus. I wonder if people actually live there. It's interesting times, man. I couldn't imagine living in Ukraine and like having a family, and I see tanks rolling down my street from a different country, and
Yeah.
people from like that's like Canadians like rolling in Humvees and tanks, and I'm walking my dog. And what the f you looking at, right? And I'm just keeping my head down. Like these foreigners just take over. That has to suck.
Oh, what's the
It
little
sucks
one?
for everybody.
Moldova, I guess, is not part of NATO. I'm guessing. No, it's not. So Moldova, so Romania, no, like Slovakia and Czechoslovakia are not part of. Or sorry, no, it's Slovakia and Austria aren't part of NATO. Um,
They border
Czech
Russia.
Republic is. No, Poland does technically. Latvia and Estonia would be the only ones that are actually bordering mainland Russia because there is that like chunk of where St. Petersburg is or whatever that's on the thing that Russia owns. So technically, Russia's surrounded by NATO there, but the only ones that would be actually, well, Turkey, I guess, is the other NATO country that is bordering on them, and then Georgia is wants to join, but they'd be potentially Georgia'd be the only other one I could see that if they wanted to, they wanted to take out, they could.
They already invaded Georgia before.
Yeah, yeah, Georgia. It's funny. But yeah, I don't think they would go into Finland and Sweden and that. It's a little bit different up there. They're not worried about Norway, I don't think. Just as long as they don't try to take back Alaska. They sold that fair and square.
You know how much they sold Alaska for?
It's just like $1 billion or some shit like that. It's
I think it was less than that.
dirt cheap.
Or maybe I'm confusing Alaska with Louisiana.
I wonder if there's any like last. I haven't really seen it, but I wonder if there is any lasting Russian like settlements or history like historical sites
I,
between Alaska down to like Washington, Oregon, because there I think Russia owned. I think Russia actually like
I,
owned. I mean owned, but like conquered that
I thought
that
Alaska
chunk.
was purchased for like $130 million at the time. I'm almost positive it was 130 million or maybe 138 million in 1880. Let me see. Let me see how good my memory is. 1867. God damn, I'm good. Oh shoot, 7.2 million, which I don't know what that is today.
Yeah, who knows? So I thought Russia had expanded beyond Alaska, but I don't know how far they. I'm trying to find like a map of how far they actually went into America. But I think Russia, yeah, I think Russia Empire went all the way down into what's now like Portland area, all along that coastal region. Um, oh, one second. I might have to get going here. Sorry,
All right.
but um, but yeah, it's I think they expanded all the way down. So I wonder if there's any like historical sites along that are like Russians that came and they never left. It just became part of America. But so there's like a strong Russian presence.
Oh, like in Argentina with Germans.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. So, but I guess I got to go, and my wife's got to drop off our vehicle to get something fixed. So I got to go pick her up and stuff. So, man, do you ever bring up Google Earth? It's freaking
No, it's been a while.
like Google Maps is one thing, but Google Earth is just on the next level. It's like so cool to just fly around the world and look at. Oh, where do you want to look at?
Go to Area 51.
Yeah, I don't even know where that is. It's in New Mexico, right?
I thought it was Nevada, or you might be right. I'm not sure.
Somewhere is in the mountainous desert region, though, right? What's this? Oh, that's kind of cool. All these like little.
The Trinity site was in, I think it was New Mexico. So yeah, maybe you're right.
That was Roswell, right? It was in Roswell, New Mexico.
No, the Trinity, where they detonated the first nuke.
Oh, I got you. The Oppenheimer or whatever.
Yeah, I
The
like that last name. I wish I had that last name.
Oppenheimer. You can
Yeah.
change it. Just
It sounds German, right?
I think it is. You could be Scott Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I like it.
You're like, I wonder if you changed your last name to Einstein. Like, wouldn't that be kind of? I'm Scott Einstein. Oh man, I could sit here and just explore like everything all day. Like, what? This is cool. Baldy Peak, Florida mountains wilderness study area. But it's in like New Mexico. It looks like a giant crater. So it's pretty cool. Anyways,
enjoy your Google Earth. I'm about to start my day. All right. See you.
All right. See ya.
Bye, Roman.
Bye.